Hello and welcome back to Wildlife Hotel. I'm Eric.
And I'm Geoffrey, and today we're exploring the Edo-Tokyo Open Air Museum.
From Tokyo Station, it's about an hour on either the Chuo or Tozai lines to a bus for a few stops, followed by a few-minute walk, all at the cost of about 700 yen.
That's less than $5.
You might think there's plenty to do closer to the center of the city, so why bother with the long train ride just for a museum about buildings? Well, it's not just any museum, it's the Tokyo Edo Open Air Museum.
Located in Kogane Park, which is worth a stroll on its own, it's just 400 yen to get in. A true bargain for what you get. It costs us more to get there than to get in. Once inside the gates, you travel through time in this open air museum to historic and important buildings from every period of Japanese history.
You can even go inside some of them. Even if you're not a history buff, this is a really cool place just to see. Explore period-correct recreations of the way things used to be for some of the various peoples of Japan throughout the ages. A cosplayer's haven, if only you could dress up and do a whole roleplay. In a way, it almost feels like you're intruding on someone's personal life the way they have it set up.
The museum relocates and reconstructs buildings that once stood in Edo,
the previous name for Tokyo,
and fills them with artifacts from the time. In some shops, you can even see artisans practicing various crafts that you can participate in yourself.
The museum is divided into 3 zones. In the East Zone, you'll find a reproduction of a downtown area complete with onsen, shops, restaurants, a bar, and a police box. Each building is carefully maintained with period-correct accents to bring the whole place to life.
The onsen feels like any number of onsens we visited in Japan, complete with these flappy door thingies, a place to put your shoes, but don't actually put your shoes there, put them in the bag like they say on the sign, a basket for your bath stuff, the spigots for the shower that you're supposed to take before getting in the bath, period-correct signage, everything a functioning bathhouse needs, except the water. This is a museum after all.
The streets are lined with shops of all sorts, from stationery to soy sauce shops. That's a lot of soy sauce. There's even an umbrella shop with a small exhibit about traditional umbrella construction. And after about 26 days in Japan, we get it. Umbrellas are a big deal, and we certainly came unprepared.
There's a building that looks like an udon shop from the outside, but inside has been converted into a rest area, complete with vending machines, a restroom, and a place to rest your feet. There's also a general goods store, complete with all sorts of food, and your friendly neighborhood tobacco corner.
We could spend all day talking about just the buildings in the East Zone, but before we move on to the next one, there's one more building we want to show you. The House of Uemura. This small, unassuming home stood out for multiple reasons. The color, for one. The green is actually old copper, like the Statue of Liberty. 2. This building has a Western-style exterior and a Japanese-style interior. And 3. The holes.
What we first thought might be bullet holes wasn't too far off. According to the plaque outside, these marks were caused by the fragments of bombs that hit this building when Tokyo was bombed during the Second World War.
In the West Zone, you'll find the old stuff, mostly. There are a couple of modern buildings here, and by modern I mean like the 1920s, but the rest is Edo period stuff, 1600 to 1800 shogun and samurai type stuff.
Like the actual residence of Hachiroemon Mitsui. The Mitsuis were an influential business family with roots all the way back to 1673. With the establishment of the Mitsui Enterprise, this became a massive conglomerate of more than 150 companies, some of which still exist in one shape or another today.
Or the house of the leader of the Hachioji Guards. This is where the head of the Hachioji Thousand Warriors lived. While his residence may not have been as big as some of the neighboring places, the fact that he had an entrance hall with a shikidai, a low, broad wooden step, meant that he was a pretty big deal. This was a feature that was reserved for homes of only the upper-class people.
His army was the retainer to the Tokugawa shogunate family who ruled Japan from 1603 to 1868 and deployed in Hachioji City.
Oh, the Hachioji Guard, Hachioji City? I get it now.
So I guess if you have friends in high places, you may just get a fancy house to go with the crushing responsibility of keeping an entire city, the shogun, the palace, and the border safe. No pressure. But yes, shikidai.
There's also a typical farmhouse from the mid-Edo period. Really, we think it's just a typical farmhouse. Nothing special. Like, we looked up the Tsunashima family and we couldn't really find anything significant, so we think this is likely just a good example of a farmhouse from this era that happens to still be around. But it's still really cool and just one of many really cool things to see.
Here's another, the Yoshino family farmhouse. The farmhouse of a moderately influential family in their community, but also just a typical example of an upper-class late Edo period farmhouse that probably still happen to be in pretty good shape and easy to move. You don't see those every day anymore.
Frozen in time, preserved for generations to come, probably pretty close to what it actually looked like back in the day. But when you Google Yoshino family, it doesn't give you much beyond the Edo Open Air Museum.
And for something a little more hip and new, the House of Koide from 1925. This house was built by influential designer Tsutemi Horiguchi. He led the Japanese modernist movement in architecture. After a trip to Europe, he combined what he liked life from the Dutch design of the time with traditional Japanese design, shaping the future of modern Japanese architecture. This is a name you can Google.
In the center zone, you'll find an old ceremony hall that was part of the Imperial Palace. It now serves as the visitor center, which contains the entrance, a home for some neat exhibits, and the gift shop. Of course, all museums need a gift shop. In this zone, you'll also find a collection of famous and notable buildings.
Like this mausoleum, which is really a small temple constructed by Princess Chiyo to hold a service for her late mother, Ofuri no Kata, wife of the third shogun, Iemitsu Tokugawa.
The Tokugawas keep popping up. It's like they did something special.
Or this behemoth of a house that belonged to Korekiyo Takahashi, a Japanese politician who served as Prime Minister of Japan for only 2 years and later Master of Finance before he met an untimely demise. He introduced Japan's first patent system, he lowered interest rates, he cut government spending, which led to unrest with the Japanese military back when they were still allowed to have one of those.
Oops. Ooh. I'm sorry, does this say assassinated him? Like the entire military?
Hey man, that's just what Wikipedia told me. I didn't write his biography.
While he and his policies are credited for pulling Japan out of the Great Depression, some also led to soaring inflation, and his successors were reluctant to ever cut off government funding after that.
If that's not enough to convince you this place is cool, they even have several antique buses and a trolley.
And if it makes any difference to you at all, the animator Hayao Miyazaki said he often visited here during the creation of his film Spirited Away for inspiration.
I'm guessing for a lot of people that does in fact make a difference.
That's why we saved it till the end. Even with our long train ride out here and back, I think it was well worth the trek to see all this incredible history, not just up close, but from the inside out.
Don't miss the Tokyo Edo Open Air Museum on your next visit to Tokyo. And until next time,
Draft up an adventure.
it's because architecture.
I get it.